I want you to imagine you're at home. You just get home, your animals are waiting at the door for you. You sit down on your couch and turn on your favorite TV show. You snuggle up with the animals maybe, and then all of a sudden, someone comes into your home and attacks you. Well, this is the case of Natalie McNally. Now, I will primarily be focusing on the actual case. I mean, a lot of people know exactly what happened, but I'm going to be primarily focusing on Natalie in the case because I feel like the fact that people focus on her killer so much is really, really weird for the fact that she was the victim. He, what's it called? The antagonist? Don't know what that means. But he was the one who killed her. So, Natalie McNally was 32 years old. And at the time of her death, she was 15 weeks pregnant when both her life and her baby's was taken. She died December 18th, 2022 inside of her own home. At the time of her murder, Natalie's boyfriend Steven, who is 33 right now I believe, he was live streaming on YouTube. He titled his live stream The Violent Night Christmas Live Gaming Stream, Streamy Goodness. This live is still accessible on his YouTube channel, and the live stream went for 6 hours, 4 minutes, and 37 seconds. He was playing a game, I think it was Grand Theft Auto, but I think it was like an older one. Not 100% sure though, because I don't play those games. I play very chill games. He was completing missions in the game about like killing people, you know, stuff usually in Grand Theft Auto, the normal stuff. There was a rally held for violence against women. There were over 1,000 people in attendance, and they were angry, sad, and they felt they were not getting the justice they deserved. There were signs that said justice for Natalie, and she was just at home, and there was also a sign that said justice for Natalie and Dean. Natalie's parents named the unborn baby boy Dean, and honestly that just breaks my heart. I don't understand how someone can just, like, there wasn't really a motive for it, and someone just killed a pregnant woman inside of her own house. Like, why? Why would you do that? Natalie's brother Neil said, you know, whatever you want to say. Natalie's brother Neil said that when she told her family about the pregnancy, they jumped up and down with excitement. They were over the moon, and that was taken away from them. The baby was going to be born in 2023, I believe. Probably about summer 2023. I'm not 100% sure. She was 15 weeks at, like, the week before Christmas in 2022, so I think it would have been around summer, but I don't know how all that stuff works. Natalie had 3 brothers. She was the only daughter, and when she became pregnant, they considered her fragile, because, you know, boys, especially brothers, like to roughhouse, which honestly I love that. So, given Natalie was the only girl, they already considered her like a little bit fragile, but once she became pregnant and they found out about it, she was even more fragile in their eyes. The night before the murder, Natalie spent the night at Stephen's. She went back home to take care of her pets the next day, Sunday, December 18th. She was planning on going to her parents for the World Cup finale that day. Natalie and her family are big football fans. There's a newspaper clipping from about 20 years ago, It was a picture of Natalie showing her support for one of her favourite teams, and I believe after her death, that team like paid tribute to her or something, and it did just show that she was loved. Everyone, like, she was a kind person, really. Everyone has said she was very kind. She supported everyone. So after the game ended, she had gotten ready to go home, and her phone went off at about 5:57 p.m. and it said, "Right, well, I'm off to stream the night away. Wish me luck." She replies with, I might have a peek at your stream later." Stephen also tweeted about the stream, and Natalie liked the tweet. Natalie was a sweet and supportive woman, which I have said. She wanted everyone around her to be happy, and whenever Stephen went live, which was rare, really, like, this live that he was doing the night she was killed was the first one that he had done in about a year. So, you know, it was rare, but whenever he went live, she liked to pop in, maybe even stay for a bit, and just show her support. The night of December 18th, before she left her parents' house, nobody realized that was the last time that they would have seen her alive. So, I honestly feel so bad for them. Like, I'm glad they got, like, one last happy memory with her, them getting to watch the World Cup. Natalie's car was caught on CCTV driving to her home around 7 p.m. on December 18th. Monday, December 19th, at around, I believe it was around 10 p.m., I don't have it written down. But the police, the authorities were notified about Natalie's death. Natalie's loved ones, her parents and her brothers were all notified about her death. Stephen was the one who found her, so he did not need to be notified. In a court hearing on March 6, 2023, the prosecution stated that Stephen went over to Natalie's house on the evening of Monday, the 19th of December, because she wasn't responding to his messages and he had not heard from her. He got to her house around 10 p.m., over 24 hours since she was last seen. Oh, I feel that's so weird. Like, I feel like at least Stephen should have known something was up, because wouldn't you just realize your girlfriend hasn't responded to you all day? Like, isn't that weird? It was too late by the time the paramedics and police arrived at the scene. Both Natalie and the 15-week-old baby were dead. Ugh. The crime scene was immediately secured, and it was very clearly murder. The state pathologist stated that Natalie died from compressions of the neck, stab wounds to the neck, blunt force injuries of the neck, and there was also defensive wounds, which means that she tried to fight her attacker. The murder weapon was found by Natalie's body at the top of her stairs. In her own house. Mind you, it was in her own house where she was attacked and killed. You know, so apparently no one's safe in their own home. Her father said when he went to ID Natalie's body that she was unrecognizable. She had broken bones in her neck. Her father stated it was a terrible death, and all he could hope for was that she died quickly. Which, honestly, that sounded weird to me at first, but, like, obviously it's just so, because it was definitely an incredibly painful death, and that's why a lot of people say, oh, I hope she died quickly, if, you know it was a painful thing. So, after the police had tried to reassure the public, they released CCTV footage of a man walking into Natalie's neighborhood carrying a sack at around 8:52 p.m. At 9:30 p.m., you see the man leaving the neighborhood. In the footage, you cannot see the man's face. The cameras were bad, but we don't know if he was hiding his face or if it was just the cameras being as bad as they were. Like, they're very grainy cameras, like old CCTV, like not like 4K CCTV, in the footage you can tell in the footage you can tell that one very noticeable thing about the difference of the man when he walked into the neighborhood and then when he walked out was that he had changed clothes. When he walked in, it looked like he was wearing black clothes. Like, they were dark clothes. You don't know if they were definitely black, like it could have been any other color, but they were dark clothes. When he was leaving the neighborhood, he was wearing lighter clothes that looked white on CCTV, but they could have been any other color that was lighter. So he had changed clothes after, killing her. So police thought that this man had either committed the murder or knew something about it. The police asked the public for help identifying the man, but given how bad and grainy the footage was, that was extremely difficult. Two of Natalie's neighbours reported hearing a woman scream inside of Natalie's house at around 9 p.m. the night of December 18th. With this report, the police determined a possible time of death for Natalie, and the CCTV corroborated that. So given the man entered the neighbourhood at around 8:52 p.m, and her neighbours are saying that they heard a scream around 9 p.m, it does corroborate that. And then he left at 9:30. Natalie has a German Shepherd and a few cats, which honestly I love that. I love German Shepherds and I love cats. I've always wanted a German Shepherd. When I live alone, I might actually get a German Shepherd. But she loved animals. She walked her dog around the neighborhood all the time. And her cats, you know how cats like love to sit at the window and see when you're going to be home? That's what her cats would do, and it was adorable. They would wait at her window for her return. Natalie's neighbor said that her dog was protective of Natalie. German Shepherds are very loyal, family-oriented dogs. So when, especially if you're, living alone, they're very protective animals. So if someone attacks you, you'd assume that they would, help fight off that person or bark a lot, But her dog did not bark. Her dog was not heard barking when Natalie was attacked, which indicates that the dog was most likely familiar with whoever attacked her. Which, also means it was someone who Natalie knew. The police did not believe it was a random attack, and this was something that made that obvious. Oh my god. See, it honestly is so sad to realize that with the fact that it was in her home, it was someone who she obviously had to know and be close enough to that her dog wouldn't bark at them when they attacked her. It's scary to think that, because nobody knew who it was at the time. Everyone was like, oh my god. Everyone thought it might have been a random attack. Because what kind of person who knows that you are pregnant with your first child would kill you? It's weird. Stephen gave some interesting information to the police. He told the police that he knew why she was murdered. That's weird. Why do you know? Stephen pointed the finger and named someone as the killer. But how do you know? I would love to know that. How do you know who the killer is? Did they tell you? And are you just, Were you just covering up for them until they did it? And that way you didn't have to cover up for them anymore? How do you know who killed her? The police arrested Stephen. He was arrested December 19th, the night he found her body. He was streaming for 6 hours the night she was murdered. It couldn't have been him. He was streaming from around 6 p.m. December 18th to midnight, December 19th. Now, I do want to mention midnight is right, that time. Once it goes 11:59 December 18th, then it goes straight to midnight December 19th, 12 a.m. So yeah, he had an airtight alibi. So obviously they had to let him go after they checked out his alibi. Stephen was released once his alibi was checked out, and another person was arrested. I could not find who was arrested. If you know, let me know. But people suspect that it was whoever Stephen had named, and that person was also released because there was no evidence pointing to this person. The McNally family were frustrated with how the case was being handled, and they were worried that Natalie was going to be forgotten. Just another cold case. They just wanted justice for Natalie and their unborn grandson. Rachel Coyle helped organize the rally for violence against women, and she said this: "This is all rooted in misogyny. There is a male sense of entitlement to women's bodies, and this is not something we are going to tolerate any longer. The tide is turning. Violence against women must end." Which, yeah, it does have to end. A final arrest was made in Natalie's case on January 31st, 2023. Most unexpected thing, really. I mean, I wouldn't have expected it. Her boyfriend, the father of her unborn child, was arrested. Now, you may question, how could he have done it when he was clearly live streaming during the murder? Well, it was discovered that the live stream, the 6 hour, 4-minute, 37-second live stream, was all pre-recorded. He had filmed that live stream a few days before on, I believe, December 15th. He filmed it, and then when he wanted to go live, he put the file on the screen and he just, had it watching that file. And the moment the stream ended, boom, it was deleted from his computer. The one thing I find incredibly disturbing about this, not just the fact that he killed, his girlfriend, the mother of his child, and he killed his own child in doing that. Stephen had grieved with the McNally family. He was at the rallies, he found Natalie, and he was the one who not only took the life away from Natalie, he took his own unborn child's life. That was his child. It was actually confirmed to have been his child. So, Stephen was originally released because his airtight alibi being checked and proven, or so they thought. But all evidence kept leading back to him, and the CCTV footage we spoke about earlier, the guy walking in and out of the neighborhood around, nearly 9 p.m. to 9:30, the guy looked a lot like Stephen. His build was very much like Stephen. It really did look like him. His walk was even the same. I would have assumed that was Stephen. Stephen took the bus the night of December 18th. He had his face covered by his hood and his scarf. But when he was paying his bus fare, he dropped a few coins on the ground. Now, Stephen was wearing gloves. He was wearing black, thick gloves, and when he bent down to pick up the coins, he couldn't because of how thick they were, so he took the gloves off. And he had, rubber or latex gloves underneath. Which, why do you need rubber or latex gloves? That is weird as fuck. Why do you need them? The police found bloody rubber or latex glove marks in Natalie's home. So Stephen, it ain't looking good for you. It will be assumed that Stephen also took the bus back home after, the murder. But he didn't. He actually took a taxi. There was a taxi waiting for someone. It was a booked taxi. And Stephen got in, was like, my mother's really sick, you have to take me home, please, please, please. And the taxi man felt bad. But Stephen's mother is actually already dead. She died a few years ago. So he had just blatantly lied to this taxi man. The only reason we know it was Stephen in that car is because the car had parked directly outside of Stephen's house. And Stephen had turned off his phone manually. You know how you can, like, if you go onto your phone, hold on, I'm gonna make sure I don't have any notifications right now because I don't get rid of them. You know when you go onto your phone, you can barely see mine, but if you press the button, it comes up so you can power off your phone. He did that. His phone had powered back on within 3 minutes of getting out of that taxi. And it was manual. Your phone tracks those things. Your phone keeps an eye on when you are on your phone, when you're not on your phone. It's called screen time limit. Look it up. Oh yeah, the taxi driver identified Stephen in a lineup, but I believe it was the defense team who were trying to say, yeah, that's not going to work, because the taxi driver had seen Stephen on the news before the lineup, so, I mean, it couldn't really be presented as evidence, really. The forensic teams were the ones to realise that Stephen had faked the live stream. A very common excuse when someone is faking a live stream and they have it pre-recorded, they will say, I don't have access to chat, I'm having tech issues, my phone's not working, I can't read it, so just talk amongst yourselves, I can't talk to you, I'm so sorry, that kind of thing. Stephen had admitted he recorded the stream on December 15th. So yeah. The night before the murder, when Natalie was staying at Stephen's, her phone was unlocked 9 times throughout the night. Prosecutors believe that Stephen had seen texts between Natalie and her ex, and that was his motive. Nobody can confirm who unlocked the phone during the night, because it was a password. Both Natalie and Stephen had the password to her phone, which honestly I don't understand why people give their partners their password. If you want to look at my phone, I will type in my password, you don't have to look at it. In Stephen's live stream, which I will put clips in, he kind of kept hinting and alluding to what he was doing in real time. There was one point in it. Well, first, he mentions in the live that he is drinking while streaming and says he will be staying home because he is drinking. Real subtle. A lot of the time while he was doing it, he was like, I just realized I'm going to be drinking and driving. And then he went, in the game. I'm drinking and driving in the game. Babe, you don't need to specify that much. He also kept checking to see if he was live. So he was there like, am I still live? Am I still live? Which honestly, you don't really have to check. I believe most people use a streaming software that has a way to see if your live stream suddenly ends, which I do. I use OBS and it has a big red light, a big red dot on it for when I'm recording or streaming. So if if the red dot goes away, or if it goes to a yellow pause button, then I know that something has gone wrong and it has stopped. But of course, if he doesn't have one of those, then I could excuse that. But also, we now know the stream was pre-recorded, so he was just doing that to try and sell it.
I need to kill this bitch. I need to take her down. 'Cause I won't pass the mission if I don't get this bitch to die. Tra-la-la.
In the game that Stephen was playing, Grand Theft Auto, he was doing missions. He decided to take on a side mission called Waste the Wife. He had to kill a woman and make it look like an accident. Now, he didn't have to do this mission. This mission didn't progress him. It was a side mission. It was optional. He decided to do it. While doing the mission, he kind of sings, I need to kill this bitch. I need to take her down. Because if I don't, I won't get past this mission. If I don't get her to die. Fa la la. Yeah, that's not creepy at all. During the live, Steven takes breaks, and he has one of those graphics, you know, the ones that say be right back, be back soon, the stream will continue in a few minutes, you know, those ones. During one of these breaks, when he had the graphic up, something weird happened. The promotional poster for the 007 No Time to Die movie came up on the screen.
I'll tell you something. I made a real pig's ear of that. I just sat down and I pulled the controller and the headphones off the table, which hit the keypad, which it's apparently hotkeys are still connected, so it went on to something else for a little second.
And now he came back and said it was a mistake. He dragged his controller down or his headset down, hit the keyboard, and his hotkeys were still connected. Okay, but it was pre-recorded, so you could have cut it out. It didn't need to be there. But, you know, I can't really speak on that matter. I don't stream anymore. He speaks about physics in the game. Something happens to his car. His car kind of goes like forward a bit, and it's kind of on, like, you know, is it called a bumper? I think it's called a bumper. The bumper of the car, it kind of leans on that for a second, then it goes back down. He is driving, he says that wouldn't happen in the real world. Abso-fucking-nately. And then he rephrases to abso-fucking-Natalie.
That's what would happen in the real world. Abso-fucking-natly. Abso-fucking-natly.
I'll enter that clip in too. During the grieving process, Stephen had been going to Natalie's parents to grieve with them. He left his phone there. A few of the times, I think it might have only been one, but it might have been a few. I'm not 100% sure on that. His phone had been recording, like it had been audio recording. And he would come back, say he forgot his phone, and then he would listen into the recording to see if the family suspected him. Which, honestly, that creeps me out even more, because what would you have done if they did suspect you? Were you going to go after them too? Like, you had no motive the first time. Like, why? There's multiple theories as to why Stephen decided to do this.
Attack, panic, attack. That's what we're doing. Just realised I'm literally going to be drinking and driving. In the game, by the way, I'm not leaving the house tonight, so yeah, in the game I will be drunk while driving in the game. I'll be drunk in real life, I'll be driving in the game. Just keep myself in the good books, shall we say? You don't know me. You don't know what I've suffered. Get the fuck out me way.
The first theory of why Stephen did it is he wasn't ready for a child, and he felt this was the only way to get out of it. Now, I'm gonna give you some advice here, Stephen. If that was your motive, you can go get the milk. That you don't have to kill someone, so you don't have to be involved with a child. Just go get the milk and never come back. Okay? Because that would be a lot better than taking out both your child and the mother of your child. Another theory was that Stephen thought that a child was not biologically his. It's been proven that the child is his. So, he could have just gotten a paternity test. The prosecutor's theory was that Stephen found the text between Natalie and her ex, and that's why he did it. Stephen pleaded not guilty, and his trial hasn't begun yet, but I believe it is set to begin Monday, September 9th, 2024. Let me know your thoughts on this case. I will be back next week with another case. We're going to try and do this every Sunday, get a case out there, keep going. But just let me know what you think. If I missed anything or if something I said was wrong, just let me know as well and I will correct it. I'll take down the video and I'll put it back up with the next point and everything. So, just let me know. I'll figure that out. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Zenith and I am speaking about true crime cases.